Here are 3 players to watch in the NCAA tournament that if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Everyone just loves New Mexico to upset number 6, have the potential to go at least one more round. Deron Holmes, Shahade Wells, and Enrique Freeman, 3 players you have to know about. That music always gets me going. I hope it gets you going too. Mike Randle here, FTN Fantasy College Basketball Betting Show, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. This is how we roll. We come in, give you the picks so you can enjoy and get those numbers and those edges that we provide you all the time. If you haven't joined us, it's on the bottom of the screen. FTN Fantasy just finished our Black Friday sale, finished on Cyber Monday, but still great deals all around. Annual packages, VIP packages, they're flying off the shelves. You're going to want to be with us here. And we are off to a flying start. We are already up 23 units on sides. For those that don't know, sides are my thing. I love the teams. I'm a college basketball junkie. I watch all of these games, and I love to talk about the matchups here. Props, totals, we'll get into those as well. And I have a couple edges here from our FTN model that I want to get to you and give to you today. As always, thank you to everybody joining us. Hit the like, subscribe button. 20 minutes. We go around, and I have a big slate today with a lot of games I like, so we'll get into it shortly. Let's get to the comments here. Some of our frequent flyers who I love, the sweet sound of the college basketball betting show, Chef's Kiss. Hi, Roland. You are the best. Trevor's always in the house. Great to have you here, buddy. You are the man. Today is going to be a money line kind of day. Trevor, if we've bet those money lines, they have gone very well. I have not done that as much as I should have. You know the deal. Underdogs are going very well. Jason, great to see you, buddy, as always. Here we go. Let's get to it. That's why you're here, Round the Horn. I like Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's very underrated in the Big 12. I think they could be a sleeping giant. Wes Miller is a really good coach. Battled last year and did a really nice job. They're number 9 in Ken Pom, and they are 6-0. My problem is the teams they've played, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Morehead State, Nichols, Northern Kentucky away, not easy. Georgia Tech, who I think stinks, and Alabama State. So while Villanova is not good, and the coaches that I've liked or haven't liked have hit perfectly this year. I told you about the UConn regression. They lost 3 in a row. I told you about the Houston regression. They're struggling to cover. Everything we said has worked out. Even John Shire, who I think is a little shaky, those have worked out. But I do think that this is a tricky spot. I've done exceptionally well with underdogs. I've struggled a little bit with favorites, last-second hooks that we've lost by, etc. This is just a little high here. Eric Dixon is still good. Kyle Neptune is awful. I don't trust Villanova, but they play at a slow pace. Let's say Cincinnati isn't shooting well. And oh, by the way, they're one of the worst teams in college basketball from the free throw line. I'd make it a half unit. I'm taking Cincinnati minus the 3.5 at Villanova, but I do admit it's a frisky spot. No look-ahead game here for Cincinnati. Don't like Villanova. I think they show up and they win. But this reminds me of the game yesterday that I put in the Discord, which you have to get into if you're not for FTN Fantasy subscribers. I took Rhode Island over Yale. I said it's going to be close. It's not going to be fun, but I think we'll get there. This game's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be fun, but I think Cincinnati's going to cover. We'll take the Bearcats here, minus 3.5. Rivalry game. And I'm mad at myself last night for not picking. You have William and Mary at Old Dominion. And Old Dominion stinks last night. If you pull up their numbers, look at Old Dominion going into last night. Horrific on offense, horrific on defense. Don't force turnovers. 28% from three-point range, 62% from the free throw line. It doesn't matter. Not in a rivalry game. The question becomes, is William and Mary in that game last night good enough to cover the spread? Not, is the team they're playing horrific? Is the favorite good enough to cover the spread? And that's why I'm going with Delaware State here. These two teams are rivals. They play each other every year. The games are usually within 13 points. Yes, it's at home for Delaware. I wish it was at Delaware State. I'd slam it. Delaware, terrible on the boards, shooting well from three-point range, but just average everywhere else. Delaware State, numbers don't look great. This isn't a tremendous spot, but it's a rivalry game that usually keeps it close. I'm always going to take the points in these spots, make it a half unit. I'm fine with it. Delaware State plus 13.5 against Delaware. Last couple of years they've played, they lost by 11 at home to Delaware State. And the year before they lost away by 8, and they stunk that year. They were 6-24. Stan Waterman still there. I think they cover. Northeastern has done remarkably well at home. When they're home, they play well. This is going back several years now with Bill Cohen. So I am going to take them against LaSalle. They lost on a neutral at Cal State Bakersfield. They lost to Vermont. Outside of that, they're 5-1. At home, they drilled Harvard by 22. They played a tough Princeton team and lost by 3 in that game. I like Northeastern at home. I've done well with them. Bill Cohen's been there for God knows how long. And here comes LaSalle with Fran Dunphy. Sure, they beat Temple at home by 8, and they beat Cornell at home, but they also went away to Drexel and only won by 3. And I just don't think LaSalle does much here. I think Northeastern at home is tough. I think these two teams are pretty evenly matched. LaSalle's number 128 in Ken Palm. Northeastern's 157. I'm going to lay the small number. I'll take them. This is a pick against Cal. I think it's falling apart. Calipari survived by being a very good builder and person who could assemble talent for years. He's struggling now because name, image, and likeness has evened the score. So you can go to Oregon, who just got $1.5 million for winning their tournament, and get just as much money as you get in Arkansas. Cal struggled at Kentucky. He's not an X and O guy. Jimmy Larinaga can run circles around Calipari as a coach. And now you're getting Arkansas still inflated here against the Miami team that has lost 4 straight games. Drake on a neutral, who's pretty good. Oklahoma State shouldn't have lost that game. VCU on a neutral, and home to Charleston Southern. This is the bottom of the market. This is Larinaga greater than Calipari. This is players like Nigel Pack who still have talent. This is a team that doesn't turn the ball over, that's really good inside the arc, that makes their free throws against an Arkansas team that's just okay. I think they're overrated. I don't think Arkansas is winning by 5 on the road. If this game was at home, I could get there. At Miami, I'm taking Miami. UNC Asheville, God, how well have we done, folks, historically with UNC Asheville? Do I love this team? Coached by Mike Morrell for all those years, playing George Mason. George Mason, no home court advantage. George Mason, really solid team under Tony Skinn. But UNC Asheville has played very well. They blitzed Tennessee State. They beat a good North Florida team away and look good doing it. Now, they started the year with a loss to Alabama and a loss at Ohio. No shame in either of those. And the Ohio game was close, but they are well coached. They're always competitive. This is a high number. Mason has no sort of home court advantage, especially on December 3rd. Too many points for a well-coached team that has been competing well and has won at North Florida and beat Tennessee State away by 18 points. Yes, it's their 3rd straight road game. Yes, they haven't played a home game yet. I think they get this one. You want to say law of efforts and they get tired, that's fine. 14 is a big number. 2 very evenly matched teams in Chattanooga and Lipscomb. Chattanooga, under Dan Earl, likes to shoot threes. They shoot threes at the top 20 rate in the country, 49.9. So half of their shots come from three-point range. Here's the problem. They're shooting 27.2%. I think that regresses. Last year, they shot 36%. That was top 70. I think this team is going to start making their threes. And what better way to do it than against Lipscomb, who really isn't great on offense and has really benefited Lipscomb from teams shooting 61% from the free throw line against them. Chattanooga, well coached, good from the line, good inside the arc, shoots a ton of threes. Some of them are going to start going down. And you remember I used that argument against Morehead State, and they covered that game no problem back on Thursday, November 15th. We're using it again. Chatta -1 against Lipscomb. Careful with this one. I'd make it only a half unit. I haven't done well with Santa Clara. The issue here is that there is a massive height difference between Santa Clara and McNeese. Santa Clara is top 20 in the country with an average height of 78 inches per Ken Palm. McNeese is 220th in the country in height. They can't rebound the ball, McNeese, and Santa Clara does a good job. I just think this is too many points. Santa Clara can struggle on offense. I think they control the boards. The only way McNeese destroys this is if they go out and they go nuts from three-point range and create a lot of turnovers. But Santa Clara doesn't really turn the ball over. and McNeese is shooting 27% from three-point range, and I'm not sure their shooters are good enough to make that regress. So we're going to take the 6.5 with Santa Clara. Even though this is a road game, I think McNeese is okay, but I don't know if McNeese is at the level that Will Wade had them last year. They are not really at the same spot. They returned 42% of their minutes, but they lost more than half their minutes, of course. And the big players, they do have Sincere Parker. They have Javon Garcia. I get it, but they struggled against Liberty. They struggle with the rebounding in that game on a neutral. I think Santa Clara is gamey for this one. I think it's close. I will take Santa Clara here away at McNeese because of their front line and their rebounding. UNC Wilmington, another one of my favorites, and this is a fade of East Carolina. East Carolina was picked 7th in the AAC in the preseason poll, and kudos to Mike Schwartz, beating up on North Carolina A&T, Stetson, Coastal Carolina, Joey Wright, I'm sorry about the Stetson reference, Mount Olive, and NC Wesleyan. Here comes a UNC Wilmington team that was great last year under Takeo Siddle. Now, Wilmington has played Kansas away and covered. Colgate home, bad loss. Colgate shot well. A good Sam Houston State at home, Houston State team at home and beat them. A good App State team at home and beat them by 15. Now they're playing East Carolina. I kind of like UNC Wilmington here with the 6.5 points. Not sure that UNC East Carolina is ready to go 8-1. And East Carolina, by the way, rivalry game against South Carolina coming up on Saturday. Three subpar opponents for them, East Carolina, and they played a very slow pace, so points are at a premium. Give me Takeo Siddle and UNC Wilmington here, plus the 6.5. If you didn't know this pick was coming, then you're not even watching this show. Vermont has been horrific, and I have disowned them after that last loss where they were up 20 points, looking great, and then they gave it all the way back, favored by 4.5, and missed a free throw with 1.8 seconds left that would have got the cover against the aforementioned Northeastern. Brown isn't playing better. They beat Sacred Heart, Canisius away, Stony Brook. 3 straight games. Now they're playing Vermont. The problem with Vermont is the turnovers. The turnovers have been awful. Their three-pointers are not going in. They're not doing well inside the arc. Terrible on the boards. I get it, and I've said to myself, John Becker's going to get it right, and I'll be damned he's going to get it right tonight against me. But I'm going with Brown plus the 5.5. I think Brown is playing well. They're disciplined. They struggle on the free throw line, but they do shoot the 3 well. Both teams play at a slow pace, and Vermont is getting killed off the dribble. The fact that they gave up a 20-point lead to Northeastern at home is really damning. So I'm going to take the 5.5 with Brown, watch John Becker cover it, and start a run here. That's fine. I'm off the ship. The USF situation is so sad because of what happened. The coach passed away. Just a horrific situation. But they should not be favored by this many points. They just shouldn't. They haven't showed me anything that makes me think they can do this. They did beat Wright State, but they lost to Middle Tennessee State on a neutral, gave up 95 points. They played Portland, who's awful on neutral, won by 6. They beat West Georgia at home by 19. Arkansas Pine Bluff, they gave up 69 points. I just think that South Florida, because of what's gone on here with this South Florida team, which is so incredibly sad with Amir Abdul-Rahim passing away suddenly, I just don't think they can cover the 16 points against Stetson. Stetson, veteran coach with Donnie Jones. Stetson is only 1-6, so people are going to look at this number and think, well, the team's not good, but it is a rivalry game, a Florida game. I can't say it. It's just too many points. You want to stay away from it. I get that too. But I just think that USF right now is really struggling. And I just don't think they should be favored by 16 points over anybody. I really don't. Cal plus 9 at Missouri. Cal is looking very good. Matson burned us when he went to Vanderbilt and they struggled in that game. They're going to learn from that. Matson is a good coach. His team is great on the boards, which you expect from him. They shoot the 3 well. They make their free throws. And Missouri with Dennis Gates, very good. They lost to Memphis, and they've rattled off 6 straight wins. But those wins have come against Pacific, Eastern Washington, Howard, Mississippi Valley State, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Lindenwood. They haven't played anybody of significance. They beat Lindenwood at home by 20. And you're telling me that with Kansas on the horizon, Kansas coming up Sunday at home, they're having Kansas come to Missouri at home. You're telling me they're going to be up for this California game. I think it's a good Matson spot. I'll take Cal plus 9. I will get to your comments. I see them flying, guys. Thank you for that. I'll get to that in a minute. Like Northwestern here, 2 picks for me. Iowa has not impressed me so far. I liked Iowa. I mentioned them in my preseason article that I thought maybe they could win the Big Ten. I don't think that is the case. They're not making free throws. They're not guarding the arc. Here comes Northwestern, who's really well coached under Chris Collins, who plays at that slow, deliberate pace, and their defensive pressure turns the ball over, and they also guard the arc well, which is critical against Iowa. This is the first game in the Big Ten conference play for Northwestern and Iowa. That's why I also think it's going to skew under. I got this line last night in the Discord here at FTN, under 148. I think it's going under 148 again. Northwestern plus 5.5. Have not been impressed with Iowa. They've not been able to blow anyone out. They lost to Utah State on a neutral. They were struggling with Ryder, and they pulled away. South Dakota at home, they gave up 77 points. Southern, they gave up 74 points. Even East Texas A&M, they gave up 67 points at home. So Iowa's defense not impressing me. Also not great on the offensive boards. Rely heavily on the three. I believe in Collins and the defense. I'll take those there. Let me get to some of the comments here. I have a few games left. Let me get to the comments quickly. Here we go. Let's see what we got. URI was, yeah, we got there. We got there. I said it was going to be ugly. I thought Rhode Island was going to win the game. Wasn't great. They were down by a lot, but got there. It's why I only made it half unit. Yeah, Matt in the house. Pitt covers Virginia. Yeah, Pitt is great, Matt. And I know you and your boy Elliot out there doing great things. Pitt is good. They are really good. Capel's done a great job. It was a great win over Ohio State. Pitt is the real deal. One of the most underrated teams in college basketball. Huge, huge win. For the Explorers, it's alumni weekend. Well, it's got to be alumni weekend somewhere, doesn't it? That's fantastic. St. Joe's Philly 5 title game on Saturday 2 for LaSalle. Yes, very good, Trevor. Appreciate that. LaSalle, this is a sleepy spot. Really like Northeastern today. I think it's a very, very good spot. Trevor calls UNC Cashville. They have been. They're good. They're well coached, and they compete well. We're getting to this one. This one's coming up. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Vermont is ridiculous. High rolling. I can't take them anymore. I'm not doing it. Let's cover that. Yeah, I think they're covering, Joey. 60.5 is a lot of points. It's a lot of points for a rivalry game. And again, I don't feel great about this one because everything going on with USF, I just think it's too many points. Completely agree, Joey. Rest in peace. He was an excellent, excellent coach. Yeah, that's right, Trevor. That's right. Thank you for that. Yeah, Matt's in the family had the kid. He wasn't there. Appreciate that. He's back. I think that's a good one. It's too many points. Let's keep going here. A couple more games and we'll get out of here. I've been fading JMU this year. I think it's a sell spot for JMU, and we're fading them against an East Tennessee State team that always plays great defense and always turns you over. And they're great from three-point range, and they're great at guarding the three-point range. Preston Spradlin is there, who came over from Morehead State. He's a good coach. I just think he needs a couple of years to get it right. They lost to George Mason. They lost to UC San Diego. They lost to Townsend. They lost to Norfolk. They've been pretty good. They only played 2 games at home, but East Tennessee State is really good here, and they're not great, James Madison, on defense. I think they're pushing the pace as a team that really doesn't have the horses to push the pace. No Pryor for Louisville. That was this pick. I grabbed this one in the Discord, and it's gone down now to 3.5, maybe 3. Like Ole Miss, as long as Matthew Morrell is on the court, this Mississippi State team has a chance, and they're playing really well with Chris Beard. This is a tough spot at Louisville, but don't get caught up, as I did, with past Kelsey's excitement. They got blitzed by Tennessee. They lost to Oklahoma. They played a tough game, the overtime game against West Virginia. That could have went either way. I get that they're home. I don't think they're going to pack the stadium here. I'm going to lean with the better coach, and no Pryor is going to hurt because this Mississippi State team is physical. They don't turn the ball over. Number 1 in the country, no turnover, so you're not going to get free baskets from them. I'm taking New Hampshire, the big one over Dartmouth. I should have faded BC against Dartmouth. Now I'm fading Dartmouth against New Hampshire. I've watched Dartmouth. They can't attack the basket. They're not going to be able to break you down and get automatic buckets. New Hampshire isn't great either, but it's a sort of a proximal rivalry game. Dartmouth in a letdown spot. New Hampshire can shoot well at home. I'll take them plus the 4.5. I don't like laying big numbers, and I've been horrific at it this year, but I think Syracuse stinks. I'm going with Tennessee in this spot. I just think their defense and their physicality is too much. Syracuse has Notre Dame away to start the Big East schedule coming up. I don't trust Adrian Autry. Rick Barnes early in the season is automatic. Tennessee has Miami after this, but they're number 2 in defense, or number 11 in offense, and number 3 in offensive rebounding. I just think they're a better team. It's a lot of points, and I expect the money to come in on Syracuse. You want to make it a half unit, I'm fine with that. I took Wisconsin minus 3.5 against Michigan. No problem there. I don't think Michigan is as good as Wisconsin. I think they're a little overvalued in the market. They usually have an advantage with their bigs, but here's the problem. Their guards have to play well, and I don't think their guards are going to play well here. Every time this team plays, Danny Wolf does a good job. Vlad Golden's just okay. He had 18 points against Xavier. That was the best game of the year. But the backcourt could be up and down. Trey Donaldson can disappear at times, and Roddy Gale's been a little up and down. I like the Wisconsin team here that just drilled Arizona at home. John Tandre's been hot. They should get a good whistle. The opener here for the Big Ten, I'll take Wisconsin. It's down to 2.5. I'll lay it there. You know I'm fading Indiana. Sam Houston State does not have bigs. You could look at an Indiana bounce back. I don't like Mike Woodson. The one time I didn't pick him, he didn't even cover. My mistake's not going to happen again. Sam Houston could turn you over. They got to make some threes. I'm taking Sam Houston State in the 13.5 in Indiana. I just don't like Mike Woodson or anything they're doing. Bradley away versus Bradley at home. Different team. And Bradley home has not been the usual juggernaut that they have been covering. They've been okay, but it's been close with some of their covers. This is the first game in the Missouri Valley Conference on the road. So Bradley on the road, not the same at home. First game in the Missouri Valley. They turn the ball over a lot, and they don't turn you over. Southern Illinois, Scott Nagy down over there from Wright State. I'm going to take the points in this matchup anytime, especially against Bradley, who, again, maybe a little overvalued. They're not as dominant as they normally are at home, and I'm going there. I think Bryce Hopkins is back tonight. Let's just take it easy with BYU. I know they've been impressive, but I'm not sure we're favoring BYU flying all the way over here to Providence, and we're favoring them against Providence by 5.5 points. Providence is tough at home. They historically have always been, and Hopkins could be back in this game. If he is, you're going to see this line drop. Providence has lost 3 in a row. BYU is really good, and Kevin Young, the coach from the Phoenix Suns, has done a great job, but 66% from the free throw line, and they can't guard the 3 either. So I'm not favored. I think BYU should be favored. Come all the way to the East Coast by 6 points. Not doing that. This news is big. I put this one in. It's now up to 12. I like Oklahoma in this matchup. Georgia Tech is really shorthanded tonight under Damon Stoudemire. No Koasi Reeves and no Javian McCollum. Both of those players are out tonight. This number has flown up. I'm also fine with the first half, which I may hit. It was at 6.5. I think it could be up to 7.5 now. Oklahoma, Georgia Tech goes to North Carolina to open the ACC on Saturday. Oklahoma has Alcorn State at home. This is not a sleepy spot. 7-0. Porter Moser doing a nice job down in Oklahoma. Hard to win there with basketball, but he's doing a great job. I'll take Clemson against Kentucky. Kentucky's due for a letdown spot, and this is a veteran Clemson team that almost made the Final Four last year. Have a lot of guys back. I know it's Brad Brommel, but everyone's going to pile on Kentucky in this game, sort of a contrarian play. And the nightcap for you, if you're interested, I'll take Mick Cronin in the opener here for the Big Ten opener for these teams. Mick Cronin's team has played very well since that loss to New Mexico. Boston University by 31, Lehigh by 40, Idaho State by 14, Cal State Fullerton by 33, and Southern Utah by 45. Their defense is suffocating. Number 1 in the country, UCLA, in defensive turnover percentage. Washington, the guards don't impress me. I like Great Osabor, but it's still Danny Sprinkle's first year at Washington. They struggle in the backcourt. They're going to see a high level of physicality. No, thank you. And they can't make free throws either, Washington, 62%. So I'll take UCLA minus 12.5. Couple more questions, and I got to get out of here. Hottie Toddy. Yeah, Hottie Toddy. We do, Joe. We have to say Hottie Toddy. When I see you at the expo, we should get a shirt that says Hottie Toddy. We are. Ole Miss has been great for us this year. Has been a cash cow. First, yeah, I agree. Yeah, first time leaving New York. I agree, Trevor. I don't like this at all. Yeah, Hottie Toddy, Alec. I'm with you. I know Pryor is a big deal. You know, they'll come out. Kelsey does a good job. They'll be fired up tonight. Maybe it'll be like a 2-point game at the half. But I think Mississippi's really, really good. Georgia Tech, first game away from home. Good luck with that. Jamison, he's good. Pope has done a great job. He's done a really good job. I'm very impressed with what he's done. I'm not sure about that. I think they're overachieving just a tad right now. Remember, that was a late coaching change and a lot of questions. He's a really good coach, but I'm not sure about that. So I'm going there. Guys, I am out of here. I'm going on the Seahawks pod with Brian Nemhauser. And then, of course, the Sirius show, 1 to 3 p.m. Come on here, Channel 87, talk fantasy football. As always, guys, you are the best. There is no better crew than we have right here. I appreciate you. FTN Fantasy, we find you the edge. We'll be back. See you again on Thursday. FTN Fantasy. Here are 3 players to watch in the NCAA tournament that if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Everyone just loves New Mexico to upset number 6. Have the